this is how to install a crankshaft oil seal on a EVO or a 4G63 engine. Crankshaft oil seal is down here. That's on my timing belt side. On the other side, it's on the gearbox over there. I'll get to that later on. Crankshaft side on the timing belt. The first thing you'll need to do is remove all the covers for your timing belt. Top and bottom, I've already done so. Easy enough for you to do that. I'm sure I don't need to explain how to turn the shifter or spanners. For your alternator timing belt, for those who have never taken one off, you need a 1/2 inch drive and put it into this little square thing here, like so, and you turn it and it'll loosen the belt, and then you pull off the belt and this will fling back into place. But you can unbolt that as well, that needs to come off. Also removing the wheel of the water pump, that's this here. Very hard to get to these 4 bolts, very hard. Don't waste your time. Make sure you have the right tools when you're taking this off. You can use a little tool like this, great, gets in the right angles. All different sizes, cost me $5, so just, yeah, don't waste your time trying to get them out with normal shifters. When you take out this little belt here of the crankshaft, make sure you mark the direction that it was going in, because if you put it in the other direction, it'll wear twice as quick. So yeah, always make sure you put these belts in the same direction, just put little markings on them, bottom, top and everything. Now, I'm not going to show you exactly how to take off the timing belt, because that's fairly simple, but or show you how to install it, because it's a waste of video. I'll give you a link where you can get a free car manual for an EVO or a 4G63 engine. It will be in the description, so look down there. I paid $20 for mine. The thing that I'm going to point out is a few tips like this here. Make sure when you're installing the timing belt, once again, you make sure this is correct. See how the marks are lined up there? Got the little mark there and little triangle up there, and they're lined up. If you turn this one more revolution around, it's not lined up. Even though it's lined up, there's a little sprocket in there, so you have to turn this twice around to match it up, not the once, or else it'll be halved out and the car will be unbalanced. Now, the way you can find out if that is correct, there's a little bolt on the side of the engine where you unscrew it and put in the screwdriver. This will be in the manual, how to install the timing belt. Make sure you do not forget this and make sure that is correct. So that's a big problem. People just line up all the little dots and lines and they think, you know, that's correct, but it's not. Other little tip, timing belt tensioner. I'll move it over here. That's what it looks like. Best if you put a little Allen key in there. There's a little hole in there before you undo the belt, so then you won't need to use a vise to clamp this little section down there. Put the Allen key in there, then unbolt it, easier that way. When you go to put the timing belt on, there's a, where is it? That sprocket, see that there? This will be in the manual and it'll show you exactly how to install this little gizmo here that spins like this here and tightens up. It says to use a special tool. I'm using just a pair of pliers like this, 45-degree angle. I slot them in there and tighten it like this. This is the wheel for the tensioner. You spin this around, it tightens the belt. This is my homemade tool that I made, $13. Bought a pair of pliers, cut them down on the end so they fit into these 2 holes here, like so. and you can turn it to tighten it. But at the end of the day, once you pull the pin on this, that little thing should not move. You should move it a couple of times around, spin the crankshaft around a few times, with the timing belt, and you would insert the Allen key again, and if it slides in there and pulls out easy, that means the timing belt's on perfect, like the tightness of it is great, so you've done a great job. If it's not, re-tighten it. If you need to make it tighter or looser, readjust it. Make sure you torque everything down correctly. All the torque specifications are in the manuals. Now to take out the seal itself, it says to use a special tool, but you can use just a flathead screwdriver with a bit of tape around the end so you don't scratch the crankshaft itself or damage it here. So it does take a little bit of mucking around. I've already pulled this one out and I've put it in just to show you without putting the new one in. You just put the screwdriver in there and just give it a little bit of a twist, and it should be able to pop out like that. That one came out a bit easier. The first time I had to play around with it a little bit more, but see here on the side, make sure you don't damage any of this or else you'll get some oil leakage again. Okay, and then just clean it all up once you've pulled it out, and push the other one in. You can push the other one in by just, this is the old one, put it in like that and just tap it in with a very lightly with a end of a screwdriver or a very light hammer. Make sure you don't dent the oil pump at all, but you'll probably need 2 hands for this, and that should come off. It's quite difficult to pull this off. They are torqued down very tight, these bolts. Make sure this plate here, when installing it, goes in the right direction. There is 2 sides. One's much more, if you put it the wrong way, it'll stick out a lot more. You should notice it, but you erect your crankshaft sensor in the meantime, so make sure that goes on the right way. You'll feel it. There's a notch there, there's a notch here, and it fits on there like so. Another little trick how to get that little sprocket off, just improvise, use tools. I'm using this extension and this. What I'll do with this is I'll bring this here, it's a bit hard without using 2 hands, but this will slip into one of those holes, but slide it in there, push it in nice and deep. You'll need something very strong because that will most likely bend, and just wedge it up against the body of your car like so, and that will tighten it very strong. Get the right angles, get the right lengths. Just improvise, save you some money on some tools, but if you want, just go buy the tools. I mean, if you're going to keep the car for a while, yeah, I'm sure you'll be working on it a lot. Sweet. And see, make sure this is nice and strong because this will bend. It goes under a lot of pressure tightening this. Try not to tighten it with the 1/2 inch socket straight in there. You might end up wrecking the end there. I mean, the new bolt costs about $10–15 depending on which country you're from. Grab a socket like this, put it on the end there, goes on, and then tighten it or loosen it. Now before you take the tension off, if you choose so you don't need to count all these notches later on, you can put cable ties, a couple of cable ties around each one. Makes it a lot easier later on. You won't need to count it, much more quicker. I didn't. I'm probably going to remove my timing belt, just put a new one on. And you can inspect your belt, make sure there's no damage to it, If it looks good, keep it on. Make sure it goes in the right direction once. Now for the gearbox side, I put a link to a website. They show you exactly how to pull out these gearboxes. The seal goes in similar to the timing belt side. The link is a very good link, shows you bolt by bolt how to remove this gearbox very easily. It is a lot of work and not a day's job for some people anyways. There's a part where you must do a little bit of fiddling around with. It's to disconnect the diff from the gearbox. They use a special tool what they went to buy. I, on the other hand, just used a screw. Find a nice screw that screws nicely into that section. You'll know the section when you get to that in the website. Just screw that in. I use this big shifter, and what I did was, after screwing this screw in, I brought the shifter, tightened it up like so, wedged the end of the shifter somewhere on my foot or anything, grabbed a hammer and bashed this nicely, and it popped out. You understand when you get to that section? And you don't need to buy any special tools. Just be careful knocking that section back in. Make sure you don't break any of the teeth on it.